Sorry, I meant to record this yesterday when I got home, and then I kind of forgot. And then I had to go to early college, high school graduation last night. So, anyway, I'm getting it done today. And then tomorrow, I'll try to get videos for the rest of your unit assignments done, just to give you a little bit more help on the essay questions. The one thing I noticed after the Unit 1 essays is that on a couple of them, I had a minimum page requirement, and there were a number of you that didn't meet that. And I'm not sure if it's because you just overlooked it when you read the question, but I just want to draw attention that if I ask for a minimum page, please make sure that you meet that. I don't care if you go over it, but you don't want to make it less. Most of these questions, pretty much from here on out, are going to be more application questions in other words, taking what you may have read or what I have given you to read or what I have given you to watch, and then trying to apply it and thinking critically about it in your answers. So on this question here, we are going to be talking about the chapters that deal with civil liberties and civil rights. Civil liberties basically means that we want to be free to do as much as we possibly can without any interference from government. That's where those First Amendment rights come in: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to a free press, the right to assemble and petition the government. When we're talking about civil rights, on the other hand, this is typically where we feel that some of our rights have been trampled on, and we need government to come in and to do something about it. So, the biggest example would be the modern civil rights movement, which really was a push for more equality by African Americans in this country. And it would have been better if we had woken up one day and said, this discrimination is not a good thing. We should do something about it. But quite honestly, it took the whole civil rights movement to put pressure on the government to pass legislation that would create a more equal opportunity and of course we all benefited from it. Women benefited from the civil rights movement and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which said you simply can't discriminate based on race, color, national origin, gender. So that's what these two chapters are talking about. Under civil liberties, there's lots of cases that have dealt with the First Amendment: speech, religion, press. What I have done is taken another right that is not necessarily talked about in the U.S. Constitution, and those are privacy rights. It could be one of the first cases that really dealt with privacy. The big one was Roe versus Wade, which at that point guaranteed that women had a privacy right to determine about what to do with her body and reproductive rights. Of course, now we know that's been overturned by a more recent case. But these are rights where you don't see, guaranteed freedom of speech, guaranteed right to privacy. But the court has ruled that we do have privacy rights, and those are inferred in the Fourth, the Fifth, the Seventh, the Eighth, even the 10th Amendment. There is an inference there that we do have privacy rights. So one that I've given you to talk about is the right to die. And I've given you a movie. It's a documentary that talks about the right to die. It's about 55 minutes long. And then I've given you a couple of other references that you can go and read. I also gave you a really short video on Brittany Maynard. You may have been familiar. She is the one who really posted her story on social media, so it became much more, people became very aware of the struggle of people that, were advocating for the right to die. What I want you to do after you've done some research on it, then it's a 2-page paper, again, double-spaced, and I want you to have 3 references back to the film, that documentary that I gave you. So make sure that, as you're watching it, take a couple of notes on things that stood out for you. Any outside sources that you use, just make sure that you reference them. And then the second question really is about the civil rights movement. And I know that many of you have studied about the civil rights movement, so I'm not asking you to go back and to, talk about all of the history beginning, with Rosa Parks and the Brown versus Board of Education. Rather, what I've done, I've given you two films, and they're very, very short. They're like 10 minutes apiece. And I want you to write another 2-page double-spaced paper, but one, I want it to be your reaction to the films that you watched. I don't want you to tell me what's in the films. I've seen them many, many times. But I want you to really, it's a reaction to the film. What did you think after you watched those two films? Were there any things that were surprising to you? Were there any things in those films that you did not know before? And then the second page would be where you believe that America stands today when it comes to the issue of racial equality. Are we there? Have we met the goals? Are we still lacking in any areas? Events of the last few years, we've seen certainly the Black Lives Matter movement for women. We've seen the Me Too movement. So think about it in terms of where you think we stand today. Again, there's not a real right or wrong answer on that second page, as long as you back it up with good information. It's one thing to just say, yes, I believe we're all equal, but then tell me why you believe that. Or if you don't believe that we've achieved equality, explain why. Okay, hopefully this will help, and I promise I'll do some more videos on each of the remaining unit questions that you have. But I did have a couple of people reach out to me, so if you have questions, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to give you more explanation. But hopefully this little video will help as well. Thanks.